breaking news from overnight. 2 more suspects have been named in the French terror attacks. The suicide bomber in the Bataclan Music Hall was Sami Amour, a Frenchman. He was reportedly convicted of terrorism back in 2012. And then the soccer stadium suicide bomber was a man named Ahmad al-Mohammed, and he was the man found with the Syrian passport.
Yeah, and there have been hundreds of raids in the last few hours as well. The international manhunt is now on, looking for a 26-year-old suspect connected to Friday's terror attacks, believed to be the last surviving terrorist. The raids come as the world leaders are struggling with a new strategy to defeat the terror group. Here's Jonathan Vigliotti.
A wave of panic has gripped the French capital after Friday's deadly attacks. Hundreds of mourners ran from a vigil set up at Republic Square Sunday night after mistaking firecrackers for gunshots.
We don't know if we should be afraid and stay home, or if it's no resistance to go out in Paris.
Police say Salam Abdeslam of Belgium is the only one of 8 terrorists who escaped. Authorities linked him to this black car found outside the Bataclan Theater. 89 people were killed in the attack at the concert hall. ISIS has claimed responsibility for the sophisticated attacks carried out in under 30 minutes. Investigators say the terrorists use encrypted texting apps, which allowed them to stay off the radar.
It's caused a huge blind spot for intelligence agencies and the law enforcement to actually get insight to what they're doing.
In retaliation for the violence, French warplanes began hitting ISIS targets in the Syrian stronghold of Raqqa Sunday.
The killing of innocent people based on a twisted ideology is an attack not just on France, not just on Turkey, but it's an attack on the civilized world.
President Obama and world leaders gathered at the G20 summit in Turkey are vowing to intensify their response, in part by sharing more intelligence information. Jonathan Vigliotti, CBS News, Paris.
And the manhunt comes as French officials announce several key suspects related to the terror attacks were questioned just hours after the bombing and then released. All across the world and the U.S., people are gathering for vigils to show support for France, including one last night right here in Nashville. Candles lit outside the Little Gourmand French Market that's in Green Hills. People dressing in blue, white, and red, gathering in solidarity and remembering the victims in Friday's attacks. Nashville's mayor, Megan Barry, says Music City does have strong roots in France.
I think that there are so many deep connections here with us and our friends in France. In fact, the many societies that exist here in Nashville, the fact that Émile de Gaulle is also our honorary consul speaks volumes. She is the grandniece of Charles de Gaulle, and she lives here in Nashville. And I had the wonderful opportunity to meet a young woman just a few minutes ago whose parents are French, and they named her Tennessee because they have that deep connection to Nashville and Tennessee.
A makeshift memorial remains outside of that shop. It's on Bandywood Drive in the Green Hills area. People have been placing flags and signs there to show their support. We will continue to follow any developments overseas and will pass along the very latest to you. You can also find updates on our Facebook page, app, and website, newschannel5.com.
And here at home, an entire community is in disbelief this morning after a 7-year-old girl was found murdered over the weekend. Last night, hundreds came out to support the family. Cuthbert Langley in studio with us this morning. And Cuthbert, just truly a tragic story.
Absolutely, Amy. Your heart has to go out to this family. And this morning, there are still a lot of questions that have been left unanswered about this murder. Gabriella Doolin, or Gabby as many called her, was found murdered in a creek late Saturday night in Scottsville, Kentucky. And last night, hundreds, as you see here, came out to light candles, to pray, and to offer support for the family. This little girl comes from a well-known family in the area. She was watching her brothers play Little League football when she was reported missing. Gabby's father spoke last night at the vigil, and as he spoke, he was understandably overcome with emotion.
Y'all hold those babies tight. Yes. Hold them tight. I'd love to hold her just one more time, please. Y'all might hold her tight.
The investigation into her death continues. We'll have more details on that part of the story coming up at 5:30. Steve?
Cuthbert, thanks. An MTSU student accused of killing a young woman will be in court today. A grand jury hearing is set to take place for Brandon Bowling. There's his mugshot. The college senior charged with 4 counts of rape, first-degree murder as well for the death of Heather Maples. Maples was found dead in her Murfreesboro apartment back in August. Detectives say she was beaten and possibly strangled to death. For more updates on today's hearing, go to our Facebook page at newschannel5.com.
A Fort Campbell soldier is behind bars this morning accused of killing a woman while driving under the influence. Jacob Clark is charged with vehicular homicide. Police say he was driving on 101st Airborne Division Parkway Saturday morning when he hit a car from behind and pushed it into an intersection. Rashonda Dolson was killed and another man was seriously injured. That man was taken to Skyline Medical Center here in Nashville. Clark is behind bars on a $600,000 bond. And this fiery head-on crash sent 2 men to the hospital. The Kentucky New Era snapped the photo from the scene on Crofton-Dawson Road in Christian County. Deputies say a truck lost control around a curve, slammed into a car, caught fire Saturday. Both drivers were injured. No word yet on their conditions.
And Amy, a garage goes up in flames overnight. Happened just before 1 o'clock in the morning along Adine Street. Crews quickly got the fire out, but the roof, well, that's pretty much gone. No word yet what sparked the flames. We're told it does not appear to be suspicious.